What's up, guys? Welcome to the very first Technical Tuesday. So, this idea I had was basically every Tuesday I would share a technical trade um, from the past and go over basically the technicals of it, different reasons to take a certain trade, how to manage that trade, and basically give you guys ideas on how to do your own technical analysis going forward, because I know a lot of you guys have been asking me to do more videos about entries and how to find entries. So I'm thinking this is a good way to do that, because I'll go over multiple pairs and different trades, and why certain entries would be there technically. So this very first one, we have the British pound, Japanese yen. Some of you guys might already know what happens here because you trade this pair, but just putting that aside, or for those of you that don't know, given this current position on GJ, where do you think this pair would head, given the technicals? I'll give you guys a second to think about it. Just look at the chart, and then we'll go over, we'll draw everything out and see if we can find a trade. All right, cool. So let's start mapping things out and see which direction we want to take this. So starting off, let's just start off with some zones. So basically how I draw my zones is, well, the way I like to do it is I have a line which sort of is like the mean of a certain key area, and then I'll draw a rectangle just to map out the whole area. So right now I'm just drawing the lines here, and then we'll go over it with the rectangle. And as you can see, I'm just trying to draw points where price has reacted to it multiple times. And then here it's a little more choppy, but we can see we have this one here. Price has respected it numerous times. And I think there's one more in here, right around this area. As you can see, it's acted as support many times, and resistance. So now let's get into the zones. Let's make that yellow. There we go. All right, cool. And when I draw the zones, I'm basically just looking to grab sort of, how do I explain this? Sort of the top range and the bottom range around this line. So as you can see, we have a top range here, bottom range here, right? Because prices hit this, prices hit this lower range. This is a sort of bad way to explain it, but think of it sort of like a Bollinger Band. If you guys have ever traded with those. There's like a top range, a middle range, and a bottom range, and basically that's what I'm doing with my key areas. All right. All right, so you know what? Fuck it. Let's just draw this as one big one. Cool. So, all right, cool. So we have our zones here. Now let's draw out some trend lines. We already have our moving averages on there, so there's no need to do anything with those. So what I like to do when drawing trend lines is you take the top sort of, well, it just depends on what's going on in the market. So here, just visually, you can see there's a triangle sort of forming, right? It's been just bouncing around, getting sort of tighter as it progresses. So knowing that this is sort of forming a large triangle, we're going to be drawing the top part of the triangle. So there we go. And then the bottom part. So there we go. So here we have the triangle that GJ is in currently. And now we're looking to just draw out a few more like since this was a huge spike, let's just imagine that wasn't there. So we'll draw from these highs here, and then we can see it looks like there might be one here that obviously it broke out of, but it still might be relevant for a retest. So let's just draw that out there. And then these might be relevant for potential resistance. Yeah, so let's just see what else we can find. Maybe one here. Yeah, that could work. I know a lot of you guys, some of you guys have DM'd me saying how my charts are crazy and like there's no way to see what's going on. But this is sort of why there's so many lines. You're just connecting all the possible places where price could react. So price could react to this trend line could bounce off of here, could bounce off here, or break retest these. You know, you can't predict the market, so you need to sort of set your chart up to handle any scenario, if that makes sense. Let's see if we can find something here. Just sort of playing around with it, seeing what you can find. Looks like this is one, right? Resistance, support, 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 support. And then if we wanted to, we could draw like this out, but that probably won't be relevant at all to this trade. Let's see what else we can find here. Just sort of playing around with things. Okay, this could be something. So we have this point, support, 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 and then, well, maybe not this. I don't know, let's see. I guess this one sort of works since it's acted as support there, support there. As you can see, little wick, support and resistance, and then support right there, and then support there, support there. All right, let's just keep that. All right, cool. And that looks like about all the trend lines that we'll need, probably. So given this, as it sits currently, I would say it's looking like more of a buy. Just because there's a lot more keeping it up here, and there would have to be very strong sellers to break through this sort of area and then head down here. Also, not to mention, if you just look at, let's say, market structure, higher high, higher low, higher high, and could be making a higher low. It still hasn't broken these lows here. So I would say you're probably looking more for a buy, not to mention you have these two moving averages right here that price seems to be reacting to, and a little break retest of this trend line. So I would say I'm looking for more of a buy. Let's maybe start planning a trade for that. So let's use some fibs to see some potential targets we would look for. So we're going to draw one from this high here down to this last sort of leg, and then we'll also draw one for here. So let's head down to the 1 hour. Yeah, as you can see, price is reacting to this area. Looks to be a nice area to potentially buy. So let's say we enter right there. Stop wise, I would place it just under the 38.2 and this low, because I would say if it breaks this low here, it's most likely going to head lower. So like 50-60 pip stop, not bad. Also, a little thing of confluence, the 200 on the 1 hour is also supporting it. So yeah, guys, basically how to find entries is just looking at the whole body of evidence, you know, looking at zones, trend lines, moving averages, and fibs. It's sitting right at the 50 to sort of look for areas of confluence, right? Just a trend line alone usually isn't enough. Just a moving average usually isn't enough. you want to find a nice area where there's sort of a cluster of obstacles, if that makes sense. So that's sort of why my chart might look crazy sometimes, because I'm trying to find areas where there's a cluster of obstacles, and that means you need to draw all relevant trend lines, all relevant zones. Yeah, and looking at this, we might be able to draw like a little channel as well, potentially. This looks like a nice channel here. All right, cool. So this might be useful. Let's see. Another reason why there's oftentimes a lot of, trend lines and stuff in the way is because even though it might not be relevant to the direction of your trade, like this channel here, it's not going to be relevant for a buy. However, we could look for potential resistance as places to take partials or close the trade. So that's another reason. Just having all relevant trend lines is important, even if it's not in the direction of the way you want to trade it, if that makes sense. So let's see, let's just draw a fib out to this little low here on the 1 hour, and it seems to be rejecting off this 21.4 as well, so another little confluence. And now for targets, since we have 2 fibs, I like to look for a cluster of extension levels, and you can see this combines the 127.2 and the 161.8 combines nicely with this zone. So I would set my TP around there for this trade, which is a nice 3-to-1 roughly risk reward. And yeah, so let's see what happens. Let's see if we're right. Who knows? Maybe this thing will bounce here and head lower. Let's find out. All right. Well, that's a good start. Great start if you ask me. Seems to be nope, doesn't want to reject. All right. Well, seems like it's starting to reject here. I probably won't do anything just because we're only 30 pips in profit. There's really no reason to take partials if we're only 30 pips in profit. So yeah, nothing to do really here. Just watch and see if we get stopped out or not. Looks like there's a real potential that we're going to, but there's nothing you can really do but watch at this point and see. Oh, okay, that's a good sign. Looks like there's some buyers. Will it break? I don't know. All right, there we go. We finally broke through, and let's see what happens. All right, so it did seem to be rejecting as sort of a second retest on this line. At this point, we're 80 pips in profit. I would say let's take like maybe 10% off here. Just because we're at a strong zone. Let's just take 10% off. 10%. You can't even see those. All right, there we go. All right, let's keep it moving. We have secured some profits. All right. Looks like there's strong buyers. It just does not want to fall. And we're getting close to our final TP. We did hit this 127.2, and so you know what, let's take a little more off. At this point we're over 100 pips in profit. Yeah, I'll take 20. Let's take another 20% off here. All right, let's keep it moving and see if and honestly at this point I would also move my stop to break even, because there's really no point in having it that close to your target and still taking a loss on the trade. That's just poor trade management. However, I will say right here, putting it at break even, probably not a good idea, just because we could get sort of a double bottom. But at this point, it doesn't make much sense to do that. to leave our stop where it was. So this is a winner pretty much. We already took off 30%, and let's just see what happens. Okay, well, that was a nice strong push. Let's take some more off. It's getting pretty close to our, final TP. I'm gonna take 10% more off here. That's a very ugly percent, but okay, well, I guess that was a pretty good idea to take some more off there, because we're seeing some heavy rejection off of this zone. You know what? At this point, let's move our stop to like this area here, just so we can secure some profits, and basically just let's let it run, and if we get stopped out, we get stopped out. If it hits our TP, then that's great. We already have 40% off, so let's take a look. All right. Well, we might get stopped out. Let's see. All right, looks like we might hit TP, and TP is hit for a nice 180 pips roughly. So, all right, and that's the last 60% off. Cool. So, nice trade. So as you can see, in a very short amount of time, this was what, in a matter of like a day or two. So pretty nice trade, really strong, buying pressure here. It never broke this low, so we were looking for a buy. Yeah, from a technical standpoint, this is a beautiful trade. Can't really complain. There wasn't any drawdown. It was pretty great. So I hope you guys gained something from this. Like I said, every Tuesday I'll be doing another video like this, just going over a pair and potential trade. Yeah, so I hope you guys gained something from this. If you did, feel free to like this video, and let me know if you guys actually want to see technical Tuesdays every Tuesday, because if there's not a huge demand, then I'll try to find something else you guys would like more. But yeah, let me know. Also, sort of going on with this idea of technical Tuesday, I was thinking sort of a similar concept, but fundamental Fridays as well, where I go over more fundamental stuff. It could be a trade recap talking about fundamentals, or just sort of tips or how to navigate them, just something that has to do with fundamentals. And then technical Tuesdays, I'll go over either doing this format or something with technicals, talking about trend lines or risk management, or I don't know, something. So we'll see. Hope you guys like this. I will also be uploading a video either tomorrow or the next day. What that video will be is a surprise, so stay tuned and have a great day.